In this video, Andre and I discuss the uncertain future of social media, why YouTube may be uniquely positioned, and how to take control of your own social media use. But first, one of the things we had wanted to talk about was social media and kind of platform control. And I know this is something that is somewhat near and dear to our hearts because of our experience in the tech industry. I think the cat's out of the bag, right? So we don't have to pretend anymore. But DZone was certainly not a social media site per se, right?
Right.
But we did have we did publish content, and there was a lot of moderation and kind of policing of that content as well as comments, which gets very much into the realm of that kind of social media stuff. And so yeah, I just, it's interesting because I know with the way that the laws and everything are set up right now, that social media sites, they're allowed to basically remove whatever content they see fit. But it also doesn't seem like they're ultimately required or held liable for not removing that content.
Yeah. Section 231, I believe it is the loophole that online platforms have taken advantage of. With the reinstitution of net neutrality, we'll see how that goes. I personally believe that there should be some accountability on the platforms for the weird stuff. I don't think they should hide behind we're just the uh, broadcaster type thing. We're not a publisher because at the same, although they're private companies, at the same time they try to play the inverse of that when it comes to their terms and conditions. But if you really look at the terms and conditions, example Reddit, you can be banned. Um, they're doing the thing they say they're not doing.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah,
I mean,
there's that.
is it something that you think that, I mean, are we going to get to a point where social media, like as a platform type, or as I guess just as a platform, as an app, that becomes regulated like more specifically by Congress because of that sort of thing in terms of like publishing and liability and I think that like the transparency in terms of like why people are banned and stuff like that.
I don't think social media is going to be around much longer. So there's
Okay.
that. So I'm not. I'm
So
not. I'm
fuck
not
your
overly.
question, Chris, because
No,
no, I know.
it's a dying industry. Man, that picture every time I see it, um, it's a dying industry. So I'm not very. I'm not concerned about it. When you think about the potential TikTok ban, and now China's suing the United States, ByteDance is suing the United States. I don't think people really understand that um, the only reason TikTok is so popular, well, there's a couple of variables, I believe. One, COVID. Two, it was something that people 30 plus weren't on. So a lot of younger people were there. They, for the most part, are migrating to Snapchat as we're speaking right now. So you'll see the proliferation of Snapchat,
I have
out.
started seeing Snapchat ads on whatever like free streaming TV service Christy uses sometimes.
Okay. So I think pretty soon TikTok won't be the thing. It's no different than MySpace and all the things before it, right? Um,
Yeah, I
and I
mean, once
really do,
the 30 plus people get there, then nobody else, like all the younger people, are like, oh God,
yeah. So
my parents are on Facebook. I don't want to be on Facebook.
right.
Like,
So I just don't, I don't think 10 or 15 years from now, we're going to be talking about social media, to be honest. I think people are going to go back to having their own website, which I'm a strong advocate of, writing blog posts, which I'm an advocate of. Putting all your eggs in the basket of a channel is just poor all the way around. And I think social media has become more of a marketing tool than a communication tool, which is what it was intended for, or a
yeah,
way to connect. So I think people are getting tired of that.
no, you're right. And it's one of those, like, again, YouTube is not necessarily, I think, viewed in that same realm of social media like
Right.
Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that. But that's it's one of the apps that I have found myself spending more time on, and I've discovered it's because of Shorts, which is very much like a TikTok ripoff, obviously.
Right.
And there is just something about like the ease of like just flipping up, like the next thing, the next. You're not selecting anything. It's just like, here you want this, here you want this, here you want this. But I very quickly am like, this is not healthy. This is a very bad way to spend several hours if I'm not careful. Um, so yeah, I've had to really like police my own use of YouTube and Shorts and stuff like that. And I try to be active on YouTube as the channel because I figured like if I'm out commenting and stuff as the
Right.
Chris and Andre show, then maybe we get more eyeballs. But
Well, I think that I believe that YouTube's in a unique position because there is so much more. Um, I don't think TikTok is. I don't think Facebook really is. I think Facebook is a one trick pony. Their global audience has continued to increase while their US audience is dying. Um, not dying, but they're not getting the monthly active users they once did. They're positioning with WhatsApp. I mean, they position themselves to, or they by consuming their competitors to figure out how to stay viable. How long that lasts, who knows?
yeah, I mean, even like what GE, right?
Right.
Like, who thought that GE would eventually crumble the way that it has and just be basically sold off for parts?
Right.
And they were in the same boat where it was just like, oh, we're just buying up shit that we have no idea what this business is, right? I mean, that was the whole basis for the show 30 Rock was that GE had bought NBC and sure, we're going to run it like we run our microwave division. Why wouldn't we, right?
Gary.
Gary's dead. I'm Jack Donaghy, new VP of Development for NBC, GE, Universal, Kmart. With 3 kinds of heat, you can cook a turkey in 22 minutes.
Wow, that is impressive.
The people upstairs think so. That's why they promoted me. That's why they sent me here to retool your show.
Exactly. Well, I never watched that show, but I mean, when you think GE, you think a company ubiquitous with everything,
Yeah.
You think of a strong brand. Now it's kind of like, oh, they are around in parts. And here's a good example: Intuit, Quicken. They sold it to a private equity group.
Mm-hmm.
But most people don't know that Quicken is not owned by Intuit anymore.
I had no idea.
Right. So there's a size a company can get to if there's no longer innovation where they die. And that is just a fact. GE is an example. Intuit is an example. Adobe is an example. Facebook or Meta is an example. When you have to buy your competitors, that means you're probably on a lifeline of some type.
Because you're not creating anything yourself.
Right.
And like you're saying, there's only so much time that you can go around acquiring because what you're basically doing is you're taking these successful businesses, acquiring them, and then running them the same way you're running the rest of your business, which is not innovating.
Tesla. So there's that. So, I mean, that's my observation. Hit us up in the comments if you agree. Love to know what you think, and I'm not even being pessimistic. I'm just saying that, there's a lot of heat on TikTok, right? And social media in general, right?
Yeah.
I do see that the inherent mental health impact that social media has. I'm not denying that. But I also believe that a lot of the issues that we have with social media are really just media hype. It's not all that it's meant to be. Stop looking, stop opening the app.
That's the key, right? Like the thing that I think gets lost in so many things today is the personal responsibility, right? Like, yeah, that stuff's addictive if you have zero willpower to either delete the apps from your phone or to stop opening them, like it's your phone even has like we talked about with parenting and like, parental controls. Your phone has controls to keep you from spending too much time on those apps if you want to, right? That's the thing I started doing with YouTube, where I have the snooze, like it's
Right.
bedtime. Hey, it's bedtime, Chris. It's 11:30. Like you need to go to bed. Stop being on YouTube.
So what does that say about how people structure their days? Right now, I actually use YouTube for several things. Like one, just white noise in the background. There's a few channels I follow, but when I look at what I've got to get done for the day, I know when I need to cut off and just like focus on the thing I'm doing. Right. Now I often, there are times I struggle with that, but for the most part, I'm not just completely sucked in. There's a point where my brain goes, yeah, all right, stop playing around. And I think that people not having some or building some structure into your day is part of the problem. Like you're not working on anything important. So it's even like downtime going to bed. Like my wife and I we started watching Modern Family from the very beginning, but we only watch a couple episodes and we go to sleep, because we have to get up and exercise in the morning. But yeah. I say that to say, like, aren't there other things you could be doing besides just absorbing, like, all that crap in your head?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it boils down to, right? Is that it's the same thing with games on my phone, right?
You got nothing else better. Yeah.
Exactly. And then it's like, what am I doing? Like, this is literally now like taking up time that I could be spending doing things I actually enjoy. And I'm like frustrated playing this stupid, match game. Like, oh, I can't get this stupid.
I spent $100 at least on Clash of Clans. At least $100.
No.
And I spent like probably maybe 75 on, there's another one where you build a city. Cause I really liked Sim City when that was a thing. There's a game similar to that I had on my phone. I was like, what am I doing? I don't have any games on my phone now. Like I don't have time for that.
I think I have 3 of them left, and they're all for the kid.
Like, sure they are.
No, I don't play them anymore because I'm just. But I still I catch myself still spending too much time on social media and stuff like that. But I've gotten better about it. It ebbs and flows though. When I was sick,
I kind of got a thing with Reddit. So on my home feed, it's just the things that developers for whatever reason continue to use Reddit as a platform.
Yeah.
Every now and then I peek at popular, and then I'm like, this is all garbage.
It is.
I can't scroll like without, I don't know, 10 things and go, this is ilk. Like why is this here? So I'm tempted to look at what everybody else is looking at, but I also know that a lot of that stuff, even the comments there, are just bots. There's no way a human being is saying the things that people say, or even there is and it's not that you're beholden to the algorithm. The algorithm is designed to, you design algorithms like that based on what you've shown a keen interest in. It's not a computer reading your mind. It's a reflection of what you're doing in that application. So that should tell you enough about yourself. Do you really want to look at that? I mean, that's the question I'm asking people.
That's the whole thing, right? Is it's like that all that negative stuff is what grabs attention, right?
Or just even really weird and obscure.
Weird and obscure. But so for me, right, like on Reddit, I rarely go to anything other than my homepage. Occasionally I'll switch to latest, but usually I'm just on the homepage.
Do you have recommendations on?
Yeah, I do. I did, and then I turned it off recently because I got really tired of that, because it was like every day I'm like 50 things. Like, no, I don't want to see. So because I interact in the Wilmington subreddit, then it'd be like all these random cities across America. And it's like, because you've interacted with a similar community. And I'm like, you dumb motherfuckers. The only reason I'm participating in the Wilmington one is because I live here. I don't live in any of these other places. I don't need to know what's going on in Peoria. Like, no.
Yeah. We as a society, we don't know how to use technology, but we blame technology for our lack of understanding of technology. And that's really weird to me.
Well, and like, so, what I was saying is like with me for the homepage, what I've noticed is like every subreddit that I'm part of or that I follow, it's just negative crap all the time. It's just like people bitching and complaining about stuff. It's all the, am I an asshole best of Reddit updates where, all these fucking couples finding out that they're cheating on each other and all, like all this horrible stuff. And I'm just like, why is this what 90%? But then you're right. Like, obviously Reddit looks at it as like, well, Chris, this is what you're spending your time looking at. So this is what we're going to show you more of. But then it's like, I don't really want to. I just kind of get sucked into that, without really thinking about it. And
I get my dose of that there's a couple of YouTubers that will go into the weird parts of Reddit for me or TikTok. And I watch their videos and I laugh at the people. Now that's kind of trashy that I'm laughing at them laughing or doing their commentary, but it's like, yeah, it's just weird that people actually put this stuff out there. Like, why would you do that?
Because some people don't care, right? Like, no publicity is bad publicity kind of thing, where it's like whatever it takes to get engagement, to get followers, to get clicks. And that because for some people, that's what they base like their self-esteem on,
Yeah, that's fair. I just want to say thank you for all the people that subscribe and listen to the Chris and Andre Show. We're very glad and grateful that you listen and you've subscribed. We're going to get on a regular cadence. Please go to the Chris and Andre Show, or chrisandandreshow.com. Subscribe to our audio podcast. We are on fireside.fm, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, obviously. Wherever you're listening to podcasts, you can probably find the audio version. And yeah, we really appreciate it. I'm very grateful and humbled, to be honest with you, that people actually enjoy the podcast. And if you like what you hear, hit the like button, leave comments. If you have suggestions, always just let us know. We'll be glad to answer that. We do involve and engage in the comments, even the weird ones. So yeah. Chris is just standing there stoic.
I don't know what you just were like, I'm going to do this thing and didn't tell me what you were going to say. So, yeah, what he said.